We're sitting down with Cole Gordon, the visionary behind Closers.io, a sales training powerhouse that's redefining how businesses scale and close high-ticket deals. With a track record of taking businesses to 8-figure success, Cole has become one of the most sought-after voices in sales and entrepreneurship.
To get to $1 million a month, $1.5 million, I was like, going. You know, you just run out of energy and then you kind of got to regroup. It's nice to have people who can carry the torch without you.
Dude, I love your car, man. How the hell did you get a purple shining Urus?
Yeah, I just bought one for my birthday one year, and I don't even like cars. Getting a jet, like that's like my only materialistic goal that I haven't done. In 2023, in the beginning of the year, I acquired a stem cell company that was only doing $50K a month, and I grew that to $3 million a month in 14 months.
All my businesses have been based on personal brand.
Yeah.
My first business, dating coaching.
I wish I was more like that in a way. I'd probably make more money.
You can't climb to the top alone. You're gonna need to have a social aspect in there somehow.
I bought a bunch of real estate. It was a huge mistake. But dude, I lost millions of dollars.
No shit.
Number one, don't be afraid of holding cash, because sure, you're gonna get hit by inflation, but until you really know what you're doing, it's just so hard to like make good decisions with your investments. It's really cool. I mean, if you really want to scale a business, a long time ago, I did one-on-one coaching with Owen, and that was like, you would ask one question and you could just set the phone down and cook a meal, and he'd be going for 90 minutes. Like literally, it was
holding him back.
It was like wound up. It's like, okay, what's the one question I want to ask today?
Yeah.
And it would be like, ask a question, and it was like, boom, and he just would go crazy. But I've never seen anybody. I mean, he might be the king of being able to do that.
Yeah.
Like he can just go.
No.
Yeah, he spoke at our RCA event, and he literally had no sleep for some reason, and he had a broken ankle.
Oh, shit.
And so he was on a crutch, and he had no sleep, and he just went for 3 hours on a crutch. And like, he was like, at one point, you know, if you know him, this will sound crazy if you don't know him, but if you know him, you'll be like, you'll think this is funny. At one point, he had this guy in the middle of the room, and he was trying to help the guy like voice project, you know, because it's like a sales conference, right? But, you know, some of the stuff he does with guys' confidence really carries over.
Yeah.
So it's like he's trying to have the guy a voice project, and he's like, has the crutch, and he's like beating him over the head with the crutch. It was the funniest thing. But people were like, I will say that guy, no mic.
Yeah, never does a mic.
Has the most thunderous voice. Like it was like, is the ground fucking shaking? Like he, working with that one Roger guy, he really dialed that in. Like he has the most insane projection I've ever seen. Yeah, but he's a cool guy. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I mean, he's super great guy.
Same, I agree. And dude, like 3 hours, that's on his lower end. I've seen him rip 8 hours on no sleep.
Oh, I'm sure.
No nothing.
I'm sure we had to like. Well, he closed out the event, so we just like let him go as long as he wants to. And at one point, we just had to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's just like he was just walking around and just like, you know, he creates an environment where he can do like the craziest stuff, and it's cool. So he would just be like screaming, and like people are just like loving it. And it's one of those things too where it's so different from what you expect from a speaker. Like, oh, you know, today we're gonna talk.
Yeah, yeah.
To where it's like, and that's really what like hypnotic stuff is it's like different, you know, it's like so like pattern interrupting, right? To where people were literally like,
yeah,
and like, what the fuck is this guy gonna say?
Full on, it's massive.
What is he gonna do?
Man. Yeah. They're like, is this leprechaun guy, this weird guy, the fat ginger?
And then he makes fun of himself.
Yeah. And then people just get captivated.
It makes fun of himself for being a garden gnome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, like, again, like, he was my first mentor, and just witnessing all that in person as like a fucking 23-year-old was complete mindfuck. Complete utter mindfuck. And I've had it because I toured with him. It was literally, dude, this guy, we would rent we would have rented the hotel, the ballroom or whatever, until like 10 p.m., right? And at fucking 10:05, Tyler just started his speech, right? At 10:05, like, the hotel staff would come, and they're like, you know, hey, like, you guys are gonna wrap it up, you know?
Yeah.
And 6 hours later, they're still standing there, like all sweaty, like they all just want to go home. Owen is still ripping it, and they're like, and you could tell they couldn't make him stop. They were waiting for this like one little break in a speech where they could like interfere, you know, like, yo, you got to stop. They couldn't. It was fucking impossible. And then sometimes I've also seen them getting sucked in, them getting like really captivated. They're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this?
What is this guy
Holy
doing?
shit. Yeah, and then they're just fucking listening there. It really is hypnotized. I actually just got hypnotized yesterday.
Yeah.
2 days ago by Marcel Klein. We filmed it on. We filmed it.
That's one of his buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that shit was insane too, man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be good at all of that stuff. I know he's good with persuasion and hypnosis. I've never met him, but I've heard good things.
It's so American. It's such an American thing. I'm not sure. We Europeans were so much more old school. Like hypnosis, like and all the cool cars and stuff like that. But you Americans, you love that shit. You're like, fuck yeah.
It's cool.
Hypnotize me.
Yeah.
Super funny, but it was a very, very epic experience. I gotta say, it was up there. I've done ayahuasca in the past. I've done twice, 2 ceremonies. And that's up there. That, 10-minute hypnosis that he did on me, I'm like, fuck. That's up there. Yeah. Really.
Dude, compare
really
that to ayahuasca, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I don't know what he does or how that works. It's just such a weird thing. You're just compliant with anything. He's like, I know you're European, you're not into politics, but you love Donald Trump the moment I snap my fingers. And I'm like, man, he's the greatest. and then he's like, when I snap my fingers, you hate Trump and you love Kamala Harris. And I'm like, yeah, she got some good things. We got it all on video. It's super fucking funny, man.
Oh, that's
super
good.
insane. But dude, yeah, we spend a lot of money on your stuff and we love it. We really, really dude, just yesterday we prolonged.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Nice.
Yesterday.
Perfect.
My head of sales, Nico, said, I prolonged again. Like, it's not even the discussion anymore. We're not even like, oh, here's what it costs. Here's what he was just like, oh, by the way, I prolonged. And everyone's like,
nice.
That's not cool.
Nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you built some really, really good shit. And you got surrounded by, like, really epic people. Like, you got because some mentoring programs, it's like the guy
is good.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch
My team is good.
of C players.
Yeah, that's probably my superpower is recruiting good people.
How do you do that?
Well, man, part of it was I just got in a good position and it was luck. So, like, if you think about it, and then I'll try to tell you some maybe things I do well, but, like, part of it is just I kind of fell into it. So, if you think about it, I was the top salesperson for the top company in the high-ticket space when the space was pretty new. Right. And so like 2018, 2019. And I kind of like built a reputation off of that. And then when I went to leave, it was just very easy to start a business. I didn't poach any of their clients or anything like that. But, there'd be people who I sold from years ago who wanted to work with me. So I kind of was able to build some steam. But like everybody kind of knew me. And I was the first, there were some other sales trainers, but a lot of them weren't. They didn't have like real businesses, like their staffs weren't over like 10.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of the first one to really take the sales recruiting model and sales training model and really scale it. And I just had, because I was in sales, like I had all of these connections of other salespeople I had sold with. I had a good organic following at the time. I also, because of my previous job, I had sold so many people into this mastermind that, like, I knew different entrepreneurs in that mastermind. And then when they, fizzled out of their business or whatever, I recruited them. And then when you get big and you become an industry, it's a snowball, because then when you become like an industry known person, kind of giant type person, it makes it super easy to recruit because people want to work with you. They want to grow. They want to be a part of something bigger. And so that really helps. So it kind of snowballed that way. But the number one thing is number one, I have a list of any and all superstars that I know are like 7 and 8 figure people. What I mean by that is like if I can add this person to the team, it could add 7 or 8 figures to my company, right? So I have a little sticky note on my computer on my desk. And what I do is I just look through that note and I just I just stay in touch with all of them, and I just stay persistent,
Hold the window
I
open.
stay persistent, until I can find something. And sometimes most people are open, right? It's just that I don't know how to create the opportunity just yet. But then certain times, maybe, you know, somebody on my team moves on, or I'm starting a new initiative and I'm like, I need like an entrepreneurial person. And really the key is just creating an opportunity big enough for that person. So, you know, having their vision and their goals fit inside the larger vision. And what's really cool, I mean, if you really want to scale a business, is what's really powerful is just having multiple people aside from you in the organization who can drive revenue and profit without you. Because you're going to be limited by your energy. So like a big part of, like, when I went from 100K a month to 2.5 million a month in a year, I probably got to about 1.5 a month. And honestly, like, that's just a lot to put on me. And it's a lot to just really, I mean, it stretched me really far, even just in terms of like me kind of coping with the chaos of it. And what got me to 1.5 to 2.5 was I had two guys, one for the B2B, one for the B2C at the time, who really kind of just like could push that growth without me. And they helped me obviously up into and before that. But, you know, to get to $1 million a month, $1.5 million, I was like going. And then I kind of, you know, you just run out of energy and then you kind of got to regroup. It's nice to have people who can carry the torch without you. And so, like, the easiest way to think about how to build a really big business, like into the high 8 figures and 9 figures, is to have as many of those people in your organization who can kind of be mini CEOs as possible. And that's, I mean, that sounds easy. It's not easy because you have to, those people have to be really good. And it's oftentimes the entrepreneur is just not mature or skilled enough or has enough wisdom, and I'm not saying I'm, you know, the greatest or anything, but you know, good. You have to be good enough to where really good people want to work for you and they respect you. And so there's a lot of the limiting factor for a lot of people in doing that is the growth. But I'll give you an example. So, you know, in 2023, in the beginning of the year, I acquired a stem cell company that was only doing 50K a month. So I just acquired it for no money down, and I acquired half. And I'm in charge of marketing and sales, and they're in charge of fulfillment and product and stuff. And I grew that from 50K a month to 3 million a month in 14 months.
Fuck.
And 1 location to 6 locations. And the way I did that is I really painted this big vision, and I created multiple CEOs within that, and really it was 3 different offers in one company. And so, but they were all selling the same product, right? And so what a lot of people do, especially in our industry, is they'll hear this and they'll be like, okay, I got to do different offers. And basically it's like different companies. So you'll see guys and like, I don't really, you know, you can be successful doing this. I just don't agree with it in terms of being the most efficient, is they'll have like, they'll kind of do publishing, right? So they'll have like an Airbnb offer, then they'll have an Amazon offer, then they'll have a Kindle offer, and then they'll have a, you know, that's like different businesses.
Yeah.
So it's not how many offers you can create, it's how many different ways you could sell the same offer. So I'll give you an example. Like what I'm doing now in my company, because I really, you know, I was doing that and then it really clicked, because I did that before in my company, but it was the B2B and the B2C. Yeah, so it was 2 different companies. And then I did it for the stem cell company. I was like, okay, that was 3 different, like I sold the same product. Now there was different applications of it. Like one of the funnels was for hair, one of the funnels was for joints, etc. But I was like, man, it's all the same kind of fulfillment for the most part. And so it's not how many offers or whatever I can create. It's how many different ways I can sell the same product. So what I'm doing now for like the sales recruiting is like we have a cold outbound team. And then, so that's a different way to sell it. And that could be a really big profit division. And within itself, it takes time to do that effectively. Then there's like the sales recruiting funnel. But then I have another funnel that's like more towards lead generation. Then I have another one that's more towards a specific vertical within our clients that we know we're really successful with. And so right there, that's what, 4 or 5. And I can each find a different sales leader, manager, profit division person to put under that and give them profit share and be like, hey, this is your business under the business. I'm here to guide you and, you know, give you staff and recruit and resources and stuff. But like, this is kind of your thing. And so you take bets like that, and, you know, some people do well and some people don't. But that's kind of like the biggest way I found to scale, at least in services and this type of stuff.
It's actually really sick to hear you talk about that. We've had moved in a slightly similar direction where we're fleshing out different kind of offers, and I had exactly the same thought in my mind. I'm like, I don't want different offers that take me to too many different directions when it comes to delivering.
Yeah.
I want them to all basically be like whatever 80% overlap on the delivery side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, product is really hard. So, like, you really want to just focus on one product. Like, anybody who has, like, the publishing companies, for instance, who have 4 or 5 different offers, they suffer with product. And they suffer with back-end ascension, too. So, it's like, if you think about it, like, your product and your back-end needs to be, like, one thing, but then there can be, like, all of these ways that people come in. But they need to come into a single point-ish, you're right. It could be 80% overlap. And then ascend to everything goes into one back-end recurring, right? And so, I mean, that's the easiest way to do most, like, higher ticket services type of stuff. I mean, even, like, SaaS and different type of things. Like, I mean, that's the way I like to do it. I found it's best.
I've heard more and more recurring. Everybody jumps on recurring.
Yeah, well, it depends, right? So, like, at the end of the day, there's something I do think in your back end you should have something that can rebill, right? And so yes, like you want something where people will pay again and again and again for one reason or another, whether it's staying in a mastermind or getting more sales recruiting or whatever the hell it is. Now, when people think about recurring, they're like, I want people paying monthly. That's a purely psychological thing that feels like an insecurity for most people. They like the certainty of knowing what's going to hit on the first every single month. I'm not saying, if that's really how you run your business, great. I mean, it doesn't matter. Statistically, though, like if I have, let's say, our backend, which you guys are a part of, I could do it monthly. Or I could do it with, basically trying to, let's say, collect as much as I can up front or in 2 or 3 payments or et cetera. And so if you look at the difference of that, like one is recurring, both are really recurring. One is monthly payments and one is not, right? One is maybe annual billing. But if you look at all the studies done in the SaaS world, which is where you would want to look for this, if you look at subscription services, there's higher renewal rates for annual billing than there is monthly billing. Like the average monthly billing, I forget what the actual study was, but I can summarize it enough so that you like kind of get the gist. It's like for the studies that were done, it was like the average term was after like 5 months. But if you get annual, okay, you get 12 months in one shot. And on top of that, the renewal was like 60%. Compared to a 5-month churn. It was something along those lines. It might have been an 8-month churn, but long story short, and this is why do like everybody's so obsessed with like monthly recurring? Dude, if that was the better model, why would any SaaS company offer you a discount to do annual billing? They all try to get you on annual billing. That's because they know it's so much better in terms of actual, not only just rebills, right? And getting getting people to stay for year over year over year. But also it just limits churn in terms of monthly. And also, Hormozy talks about this, but it's the look back period. Yeah. So like if you bill daily, the customer asks, what did you do for me today? Exactly. If you bill monthly, the customer asks, what did you do for me monthly? If you bill annually, the customer asks, what did you do for me annually? And if the look back period is 12 months, you're just going to be like, okay, well, like through this year, I do think it was worth this payment. Yeah. But, you could have a bad month and be like, oh, we need to cancel this shit. Exactly. And it's just so top of mind. I'm not saying you want to like sneak recurring billing people, but it just, if you extend the look back period, it's easier to make sure their value is justified for that. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know in the industry, a lot of people are like, oh, monthly recurring billing. And I just think it's, okay, great. If that makes you feel safe, good for you. But that's what it's doing. It's not something that actually is a positive model. Like from a business perspective, it is not the most efficient way to do it, period. Right? And if you can't manage, yes, the cash flows are more predictable done that way. But if you have half of a brain and use accrual-based accounting, you don't need to have, like, just run a business. Like, you don't need to have monthly recurring billing to make sure your cash flows are okay. You just need to run your business and your finances properly.
Yeah. It's exactly that. Psychologically speaking, it's much easier to justify a yearly price. And it was actually pretty genius that you said you looked at SaaS companies just to kind of figure out what works best.
I just happened to hear that in a mastermind I was at. But basically, I mean, like they would know best, right? Because their valuations are all based on the recurring. But if you build once every 12 months or monthly or daily, that's all recurring.
Yeah, it's still recurring. Right? You just
so I would rather just work in annual increments.
Yeah.
And then that way you only have to upsell somebody once.
Yeah.
Not, it's a continuous thing. No, for certain business models, look, like, you're probably, I even think like Netflix does annual billing. Almost everything does. Why would they discount you for annual billing? They do it for a reason, Yeah,
pretty interesting. You guys had the B2C offer where you basically teach people how to become high-ticket sales folks.
Yeah.
You guys still run that?
No, we shut it down. The reason we shut it down is just because at the time, I did that in 2024 or January 2024 of this year. I had 3 companies, and one was the medical company, one was my B2B, one was the B2C, and that one was making the least amount of profit. And just like, I felt like I had the least amount of scalability at that time. And what it would have needed to scale was a lot of product-based and marketing-based effort, which is all dependent on me. So like the real way to scale a B2C like that would have been to do like automated, to really work on the automated liquidating webinar or liquidating low-ticket funnel on the front end, or do like a challenge or a book or something like that. And then kind of build out like the front of the value ladder, and then have the outbound team really work on the back-end offers. That's a lot of creative, a lot of dependence on me. I just felt like it was you're not going to scale and exit that business. It's B2C probably. So I was just like, okay, and it also compliance-wise is always the most built-in risk because it's 2 consumers. So I just cut that and then put the other people into the other opportunities that I had.
Yeah, interesting.
And 3 companies is very stupid. Like, I would not do that. Again, my mistake is I had all of these different companies. What I really should have done is kept my B2B, which has always been my most profitable company and the one that I'm known for, and the one I liked and enjoy the most. And I should have just put that talent all within inside that one umbrella, and it's how many different ways can you sell the same product. That's what I wish I would have done. Even, the medical company, I'm glad I did it for the experience, but I should have, the talent I exhausted into that, all the energy, all the marketing I did for it, I really should have just found different ways to sell the current thing. That would have been much smarter.
What I saw looking in from the inside, not in particular to your offer, but for the industry itself, the B2C market and how to become a high-ticket closer, it was always kind of tough because a really good closer is someone that goes above and beyond, that has that nurtures his pipeline, that fucking outbound calls nonstop, and it's like in essence almost the exact opposite of what most become a high ticket closer offers are telling you on the front end. They're like, oh, it's
gonna be easy,
just sit around and have
it's tough. Like, look, realistically, nobody wakes up in the morning and says that I want to be a salesperson. So like, somebody might wake up in the morning and be like, I see some people selling like stuff on Amazon. That would be cool to do. I see people selling stuff, they're an influencer. They have a big Instagram. They do sponsorship. Oh, I would love to do that. Nobody wakes up in the morning and they're like, yeah, I want to be a salesperson. Like, it's very rare. It's like waking up and being like, honestly, some people probably wake up in the morning and do want to go to the military, but sales is like the military of business. And so, most people, when they get into sales, it's not even like, if you're telling a friend, they're not even like excited about it. They're like, yeah, I'm getting into sales.
Exactly.
So it's like, what I have to do is I basically have to channel desire into that opportunity to create demand. You have to do that through longer form copy and basically creating a chain of beliefs that lead them to the conclusion that this is the best opportunity to do that. So it's, you have to make it seem like, I thought I'd try to do a pretty good job of like, look, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But here's the benefits. You can work remote. You can make money, la-da-da-da-da. The big problem with that from a B2C perspective is if you look at the best B2C offers, you can go after people who have jobs, who are trying to replace their income with this new opportunity, right? And who it's a side hustle thing, right? Pay your rent through Kindle books, stuff like that. With closing, the issue is, if you're going to be honest with people, which we were, is you cannot do this on the side. Like, so one of the things on the sales call, like I have to get somebody to quit their job to do this. Now, what that attracts is people who have no jobs. So that was, I mean, look, I still scaled it to like $20 million a year. So it's not like it was not overcomable. But if you look at like some of the biggest B2C offers, which is like Kindle publishing, right? Like stuff like that. Yeah, it's not as good of an offer as that by any means.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean if you do that offer, you're going to make 10 million a month. You know, like they're really, you know, publishing.com is really good at what they do. They're, you know, the Nicholsons are really bright guys, but, it is a better offer, you know?
Yeah, I remember that, and it's so funny because there's also so many fucking shitty sales guys teaching how to become a high ticket closer. I've had some. I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus, but I've had high ticket closer mentors apply to become a closer for us.
Oh yeah, it's very common. Well, a lot of them come to work for me too. And I mean, I'm not really like what I like about what I do is I do sales recruiting. So I'm not in the world of trying to be the best sales trainer out there. I mean, I think I'm pretty good, but I'm not trying to flex my, you know, NLP against the next sales coaching guy.
Yeah.
I'll let all those guys do that. What my company does is really focuses on the front end, at least, on the recruiting. And I mean, you know, there's some guys who have good things to say, and there's some really good guys out there, and I really like, you know, Jeremy Minor and and some other guys too, but you know, Eli Wild I like a lot. But yeah, I'm just not like, I don't want to, and even when I started the business, I was like, I don't really want to compete as like the sales trainer guy, you know? I was like, I want to do a service. And so that's why I did the sales recruiting.
Interesting. What I actually find curious is you did this medical company where you're selling stem cells treatments.
Yeah,
which is an offline thing. It's not an online service, so it's a very, very, very different niche than what you're used to, at least I suppose.
Yeah.
So how exactly? Well, first of all, how the hell did you get into that?
Well, it was a client of mine.
What's the differences?
Well, it was a client of mine.
Okay.
Number one. Number two
is it a client for sales guys?
Yeah.
To get sales recruiting?
And so as soon as they joined, I was like, at the time I was trying to do a bunch of acquisitions with clients, and I was like, oh yeah, like. I understood this guy's offers, and I was like, oh, I could sell that through a VSL and a sales team so well.
No shit.
And that was like my lens of like what a good acquisition was, which was kind of one-sided and very stupid. But I'm like, that's all I thought about is.
Well, why is it stupid? It sounds pretty logical.
Well, because of the other thing is the answer to the other half of your question is like I didn't understand until a year in anything about how, I mean, I don't want to say anything, but like truly how those medical type businesses run and all the operations that go into it, what your margins are actually going to be, you know, and like, look, I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not a board certified physician, so I don't know the ins and outs of, you know, the product and the care and how all that works. Scheduling and HIPAA and FDA compliance and clinical operations is very complex. We scaled it way too fast. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences. They're all on that side. On the front end, it was the same, which is part of the reason I saw the opportunity. I was like, I can go into this industry and market in a way that is common to our industry, but nobody is doing it. And you know, Jay Abraham says when you take a tactic from one industry and apply it to a different industry that's completely unrelated, that's where you create he calls it the nuclear bomb or something. Like it's like a you know, it's an explosive effect. So that's what I was going for. The big issue with that, though, was just the clinical operations and the scalability. And also, like, nothing should scale that quickly. Like, we scaled that way too fucking fast. Yeah, I mean, like, even when I went from 100K a month to 2.5 million a month in, like, 12 months, I was able to keep up with it pretty well in terms of operations and client results. But I mean, you know, we even dropped a lot of balls during that period. Because especially I didn't understand the clinical operations. Yeah, it was like, it's just so hard to build that after the fact. So that was the big mistake there, but it was still, I learned a lot. It was a good experience.
It was? You're not doing it anymore?
Well, so yeah, it's a long story. I can't get into in this, but I basically sold my equity back to the doctor who runs it.
But you
just to focus, because after I had done that, what I had realized, and to go back earlier to what I said, is I really should have done what I did with them in terms of creating the multiple profit divisions and everything, and done it within the B2B company. And I had never, I always do in the back of my head, I should really be focusing on one company. Like this is not smart. And so that's, I for the first time in 4 years, now I'm fully focused on one thing. I'm also, for the first time in several years, the CEO of this one company instead of having a CEO in place. And it's so much better. And also, the thing is too, I was working through so many limiting beliefs over the years of the sales recruiting company not being, I'm like, oh, it's a good first company, but it's not going to be the company that gets me to 9 figures. Realistically, there's like $1 billion recruiting companies. And so with the right model, there's no reason it could be $100 million a year company. I mean, it's not as easy to get into 100 million as like an e-commerce company or something, but it certainly is a company that can scale. I just wasn't putting my energy into it. And I always thought, oh, 20 million, that's as big as this company will get. 30 million, that's as big as this company will get. So I took a step back this year, cut all the other businesses just to focus on this one. Yeah.
That's a lesson I feel like we all make.
Yeah,
on different scales.
I mean, how many times have you heard the lesson focus? I mean, I could go on Instagram right now. It's going to be like the top 10 posts. It's like I'll scroll for 2 seconds and I'll see it. I just had to learn it my own way.
We had to always.
Yeah, and even Hormozi talks about it as well, as like he had Alan and Prestige Labs and Gym Launch, and he says if he could go back, he would not have done any of that stuff and just focused on Gym Launch, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I just had to. It's tough because the issue is I did focus on all those other things, and I made a lot of money doing those other things. So it's not like it was like on paper, I can point to millions of dollars I made from both of those two different things.
Yeah.
But I think that realistically, and I can't blame myself for not doing this, and I'm glad I learned what I learned along the way. But if I would have just from the very beginning, knowing what I know now, if I could go back, I just would have only focused on one thing. And if I would have done that, I would be 2 or 3 times the size in my B2B company as I am now. And I think I would have made in the beginning of this year, everything combined was doing $7 million a month cash. I don't know if I would have gotten the B2B to that point in this time frame, but I bet I could have gotten it to 5 to 6 a month.
And it compounds then anyway.
Yeah, 5 to 6 a month, and be 2 or 3 times the size as I am now, and just have one company and be healthier and sturdier and more profitable. So, you live and you learn.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, ultimately, you never know what comes out in the next couple of years, where the lessons that you learn from these other companies might actually come back in, and you're like, oh shit, that actually helps me now. So you never fucking know.
Well, the big thing too with acquisitions, because it's a very hot thing, a lot of people want to do it. The big thing I learned is what I should have done in terms of, I mean, first of all, if you're going to do acquisitions, it's like building a portfolio should be the thing, right? It's not like you have a thing and then you're doing this other thing. The portfolio is the one thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
the second thing is you need to get existing companies that are already really well run by great operators who you can add something unique to take it to the next level. But Warren Buffett buys, what's the saying? Like great businesses for a fair price, not fair businesses for a great price. It's like you want to get good, legit. You don't want to do distressed, right? It's just, unless you're going to get distressed and that's going to be your only thing that you do. I mean, I'm not saying it can't work, but I just think that it's much easier. Like I would have wanted to, instead of a stem cell clinic doing $50K a month, I should have gotten something doing, $4 to $6 million a year that has really great operations. It would have cost me money. I would have had to buy it. I couldn't have gotten it for free, but I could have, actually bought it, gotten majority control. And then, you go all in on that opportunity and do what you want to do.
What were the profit margins of that stem cell company? What can I expect there?
I was like, it depends. I mean, it's probably going to be 10 to 25, 30, depending on how you run it.
Okay, interesting. And you said 6 multiple locations? How many locations was it?
6, yeah.
Damn, man. Did you ever get some yourself?
What do you mean?
Stem cells?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it before and during and
no shit.
And after.
So I hear everybody talk about it recently. I'm like,
yeah, it's good.
It's fucking cool, man.
It's definitely, because during that time I looked into a lot of the science. And I was like a science major in college, and that was my original thing was health and fitness and science. And so I looked into a lot of the research, and there's a lot of great stuff it can do. It's really cool.
So you did it just prophylactically, or did you have any sort of injury somewhere?
No, just for longevity.
No shit.
Yeah, you have a certain bank of stem cells in your body and declines over time, and you can correlate that really well with aging.
Yeah.
And because, you have a certain bank in stem cells in your bone marrow and your fat, etc. You're born with a certain amount, and then as you age, it's like it's really like an exponential drop off like this.
Yeah.
And so, that's why if you're young, like if you're 18 and you get injured, you're going to heal faster than if you're 80, right? Yeah. And so, replenishing, you're not replenishing the bank, so to say, but doing those infusions, once a year or something can help a lot.
Now, how does that work? Is that an infusion that goes to a specific part of your body? Or
yeah. So what happens is like, I'm not the doctor, but the stem cells, whether you get exosomes or you don't get exosomes, it has signaling material on the coating.
Yeah.
And basically that can, the areas of your body that, let's say, have inflammation or what have you, that's sending signals to your body to attract certain cells. And so those kind of signals line up, and it just knows kind of where to go.
No shit.
That's like my rudimentary response. I don't know if that's 100% what happens, but it's like, I might have gotten half.
You did that here in Scottsdale, or did you go down to Mexico?
No, I mean, so our clinics were all in the U.S., but you can get a little bit of a different product in Mexico and Costa Rica.
They could put more in it or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it used to be that you could only do it in Costa Rica. Now I know you can do umbilical cord, like the real things. There's a lot of people do exosomes, which is just like the actual coating layer of it, and it's not the real stem cell, but it's still pretty effective. And then what's a little bit more effective is the actual umbilical cord or placenta, mesenchymal stem cells. And so those you can still get in the U.S. though. So I don't know I'm not sure. In 2022, a lot of the stuff changed. So I'm not sure what the regulations are in regards to is there still higher potency or different stuff you can do in Costa Rica or not. But a lot of the doctors who are the most kind of forefront in the research are down in Costa Rica. So I don't know if that just makes it better. I'm not sure.
We actually drank placenta in Japan. You could just buy it in a drink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fucking I have no idea how that works, but it was actually at the butcher. I was walking in at this butcher because I wanted to get steak. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, we have placenta drinks. Completely random. It was like a butcher.
From humans?
Yeah. It was a butcher / health store. Like,
quite nice to meet. There was like placenta.
Yeah. But it was all nice. It was not like a shitty meat, like it was Japan. It was like super beautifully cut up, and they had these and they had these drinks in there, and we just bought them like every fucking day. I sent them to my fitness mentor, Nikki Bra, just to check if they're legit, and he's like, dude, get as much as you can in your stream every fucking day, because you can't buy that in Europe.
You can't. That's interesting. Yeah, Japan's cool.
You been?
Yeah, I went to Tokyo and Kyoto.
Nice.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite places I've been to. It's like my girlfriend's favorite place too.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It's like, it's super clean. It's like really populated. There's people everywhere, but it's real quiet. They keep to themselves. They're like Americans. The food's incredible. But yeah, their infrastructure and like technology, just like how their city is and all that stuff. It's just way more advanced than we are infrastructurally.
Yeah, everything too.
Like the subways, the trains, like it's like 10 times better.
Everything fucking runs on.
Yeah, the U.S. is just crazy. It's funny because if you go there, everything's like neat and orderly and very OCD, and people are very quiet. And then you get back to LAX, and people are like, it's like you start to realize, like, that was the only time I really got culture shock, because I went to China too. And it's like coming back from Japan, I'm like, wow, like the U.S. is just like, everybody's so loud. You can do whatever you want, say whatever the fuck you want, which is cool, but it's like, it's kind of also cool in Japan where like nobody's overweight. Everybody's like very like orderly. It's like they're not loud. I mean, even the babies are like, in LAX, it's like you just hear babies screaming and stuff. I swear, like, Japanese babies are quiet. I don't know why. It's just like there's no... But yeah, I mean, I swear I was like back at LAX. I'm like in the bathroom. It's like dirty. The sinks don't work. Yeah, it's like that. I'm like, oh, this would never happen in Japan. Yeah, I walk out and people are like screaming and yelling. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is like like I can see how people come to America and they're like, wow, it's like so fucking intense here. And it's like people are just like crazy and just loud and wild.
Yeah,
and
same in Europe.
fat. And
Yeah.
it's like you could just do whatever you want.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
which is cool. That's, a cool thing, I think. But it, obviously has its downsides. Japan, because it is really like orderly and like you don't want to stick out from the crowd. There's a lot of like mental illness and stuff that they have there that comes with that. Same thing with South Korea.
I mean, this is the first time in 5 years I'm back in the States. Last time I was 2019.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah. And I just forgot how awesome it is.
Yeah,
It's capitalism on steroids.
yeah, it's just intense.
So good.
It's very money driven.
Yeah, and I love it because I've experienced the U.S. over different steps of my career as an unpaid intern to Owen.
Yeah,
like 12 months no money, and you just treat it like you don't exist. People smell it; they know you have no money in the States, so they're just like fuck off. And then I came back in 2016 after I made my first million with my first digital product, and all of a sudden people are like, hey, let me open the door for you, sir. Like everywhere, the valet and and you're like, oh man, this is such an epic experience when you have fucking money. And then I was touring through the States consecutively until 2019ish, and then I started doing business consulting. I stopped doing in-person seminars, and then I just had very little reason to actually go anywhere other than just dick around in Europe and meet my family and friends there. And then the pandemic happened, and then you guys had such crazy entry laws with the vax and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to wait until I think like 2022-ish, where friends of mine told me, oh, they went there, they didn't have to show anything. And then then I just took me 2 more years to come here. But now we're here doing a podcast tour. We came to Miami, LA, do a bunch of podcasts, and we have you on here now, Spatzell, and we're gonna go to New York today. Actually, we'll have more podcasts.
Who are you interviewing in New York?
Luke Crow again. I think
Who's the RSD guy?
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
We're gonna get tattoos on the podcast.
Oh,
if
okay.
possible. We're trying to get it. We're not sure 100% if it works. Plus, I'll meet the guys from WAP. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah,
WHOP.
they're making a splash.
Yeah, they're making a huge splash.
I hear about them like every day.
Yeah, no shit.
They're in the mastermind. Yeah,
No shit.
Yeah,
I
they
met
just
them
joined.
in Cannes at the mastermind with Tai. And it was just this like dude, it's a 20-year-old dude in barefoot and then like a double XL shirt that was way too large for him.
Yeah.
And then he comes on stage like, we do WAP. We're like 75 employees and offices in New York, Brooklyn. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
And they were super fucking on point. You could tell. You could tell whenever you're talking to someone, and you could tell like just looking in their eyes, they're like fucking thinking. They're on fucking point. And that's exactly what I felt with them. And I chatted them up after their speech in Canada. They're like, dude, come out to New York. And I'm like, well, I'll be in the States, so I'll go meet them, do a podcast with them as well, and see what it's all about. But very, very interesting. What do you think about their offer?
I don't know enough about it.
Okay, yeah, same. I just do know that they're working a lot with creators and that they want to make it like a one platform kind of thing. Kind of like China has WeChat, I think, is WeChat in China, where basically do everything over one app. And they want to do that for creators, which sounds very, very interesting. So it's payment processor plus platform plus delivery in one thing.
Yeah.
So super interesting stuff. Anyway, and then we came to the States, and I'm like, man, everything is so big. Everybody just makes fucking money. And it's just such a positive cesspool of entrepreneurs, of creators. You constantly meet people that crush you. You don't have that as much in Europe. You have hotspots in Europe, like Marbella. You go to Marbella, it's full of fitness influencers, full of fitness business owners.
Oh, interesting.
And mafia too, which is funny. And or Dubai, although it's not really Europe. And you have places also like
it kind of is Euro. It's like 50% Euro.
Exactly. It's just a small fly from there. Cyprus kind of is coming too. A lot of people. A lot of online entrepreneurs are in Cyprus, a lot of trading entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But like, again, nothing compared to the U.S. Did you grow up here in Scottsdale? Or
no, I grew up in Ohio, and then I went to Nashville, and then San Diego, and then here.
What made you go to Nashville, and what made you go
Nashville, well, what happened was when I started making money remotely, being a salesperson, I was like, well, I can live anywhere I want. And I was going to move to Columbus and get like a swanky apartment there. And then I was like, well, if I move to Columbus, I'll probably just always stay in Columbus. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just try somewhere else. And Nashville was like 6 hours away. I had some friends there. So it just seemed like an easy place to go. And it was like a new hot city type of thing. And then what happened is when I left TF, I was like, okay, I need to kind of go somewhere else and start a different chapter. Just because that kind of I felt like that ended my Nashville chapter and I was launching my business. And so I was going to go to Miami, and then I went to San Diego, and I just really liked some of the people I met there. So I decided to go there instead. But the thing is in the back of my mind, I was like, what am I going to do about this tax? And then on top of that, when COVID hit, it was so insane there.
Yeah,
and Scottsdale was open, and it was close, and I could drive there. So I was like, I'll just go there and Airbnb, and then I just never left.
No shit.
Yeah.
No shit. What are the taxes in Arizona?
It's like 4 or 5, I
Wow.
think, and there's like 13. And once you get your payroll set up there too, it's very hard to they get their tentacles in you, and it's hard to kind of get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5% corporate taxes?
For state tax, yeah, for Arizona.
Wow. I had no idea. That's so sick.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's average. It's not like that good. Florida and Texas are 0, and Tennessee is 0.
I mean, dude, Cyprus is 12.5, and it's like the best in Europe.
Yeah,
Considered to be one of the best. I mean, the thing about Cyprus is you don't have personal income tax. That's, I think, why most people are there. So you have 12.5% on corporate tax, only on profits, and you can keep that low if you're smart about it. So what I always do is, for example, in whatever December hits, and I'm like, okay, what's the profit I don't need to pay myself out anytime soon? And I just put it in ads.
Yeah.
Prepay all my ads, so profits are lower, so I pay less taxes, right?
Yeah.
So I prepay all the ads from like the next year, and then personal income tax is 0 on dividends. So you just pay yourself out dividends, and you don't pay personal income tax.
Oh, nice.
You do have to stay 60 days a year though there. That's like the only thing, which is still pretty decent. In Dubai, it's 160 days.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like
60 is nothing.
Yeah, it's like it's not nothing, but it's 2 months a year, right?
Is it suck there?
No, it's pretty nice. I mean, it's not like a U.S. city.
Yeah.
It's just countryside and Limassol. Limassol is a decent city. There's a lot of entrepreneurs. What I usually do is I rent a villa somewhere on the beach and just grind it out there for a whole month. I do a bunch of projects, shoot VSLs, shoot ads and all that shit. And maybe bring my girlfriend, and I have a massage therapist there in the gym, and that's all you do. Yeah. You just wake up, you do a sunrise walk, get the hustle, hit the gym, then do a sunset walk. That's basically, and on the weekends you do whatever, jet skis or some shit like that.
Okay.
So it's decent, but I've been doing it for 4 years now, since 2020. I think we've done it 2 months a year. It really stacks up because you're like, okay, I could be in Japan, I could be in for a month, I could check out new places, but now I'm fucking stuck here. So I think I'm gonna stop doing it and do some sort of some different setup. But yeah, I don't know. It's a cool solution for a lot of people that are starting to get some good money, because especially when you're in Germany or some shit, or Sweden, it's 50%, 60% taxes sometimes. It's unfucking real. That's why when you said it's 4 to 5%, I'm like, what?
Well, state, right? I mean, we still have federal here, which is like 40.
Okay, well, fuck.
Yeah, it's not
that's
good. Yeah, it's not good. There's state, and then there's federal. Federal is the main thing, which is like
on profits.
Yeah, I think the 39.5 is the highest, or something along those lines. And so then you end up paying like 44 or something like that. It could be like 42. I don't know. I just know it's a lot. I mean, through tax planning, I can get it down to like low 20s.
Yeah.
Total. I mean, maybe low 20s federal, and then 27 or something with state, or however it racks up. But I tried to move to Puerto Rico. I was like, fuck this. And so, yeah, you just pay for this, basically. Yeah, you pay for living in the U.S.
Yeah, living in the greatest country in the world, man.
Cole Gordon, DOG. Love that guy. By the way, if you're enjoying this podcast, drop a like, drop a comment, give us a 5-star rating, depending on whether or not you're listening to this on Spotify, YouTube, or iTunes. It will help the algorithm. It will make this podcast grow even more. It's already grown so much. I'm so grateful for that. And it'll help me give more value to you for free and get more awesome guests like Cole Gordon on. So if you haven't done so yet, it's the only thing I'm asking for. Drop a like, drop a comment. Thank you so much. Drop a 5-star rating. And now back to the episode.
Dude, I love your car, man. How the hell did you get a purple shining?
Well, it's a wrap, but
okay, but still sick.
Yeah, I just bought one for my birthday one year, and I don't even like cars. I thought about getting rid of it. Yeah, I literally give 2 shits. I don't know anything about it. I don't even think it's really that nice. I mean, it looks cool, I guess.
It looks sick.
Yeah,
I
but I'm not
fucking
like a
love
big car person. I could give two shits.
it. No shit. That's so funny, man. What made you get the Urus?
I don't know. I just was like, okay, you know, it looked cool. I was down for whatever. I didn't want to get like this like not a convertible, what was sports car-y thing. I was like, this SUV is kind of like a little bit more classy.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and then you put a purple on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it done white though, because I don't like the attention. I'm not like that. If you see my car, you would get a wrong idea about me. I'm not highly materialistic at all. There's certain things I like. Well, I like to be able to travel and do like luxury. Like I like to be able to stay at the Aman.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's the Aman is like, you know what the Aman is?
No.
It's like the Aman in New York is the most expensive hotel in New York.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's like $2,000 a night.
No.
So I like to be able to do stuff like that. So like luxury travel, being able to, it really good international flights. Like if you fly like Singapore or Dubai, get in the nicest shit there. One thing that I technically could afford it, I just think it's a little bit reckless if I would do it, is like getting a jet. Like that's like my only materialistic goal that I haven't done.
Damn.
Well, that I want. That's like, oh, I actually want it. I mean, do I really need it? No, but I would like to have one. That'd be cool.
How much is a private jet?
Well, it depends on what you buy, right? And everybody will be like, oh, you could charter it and break even. I don't know. I just don't trust that. Maybe you can, but to me, it just seems a little sketchy. And so, in my mind, you just got to be willing to spend $100 to $200 a month for like 5 to 7 years. So if you're okay with that, between pilots fees, hangar fees, and all the things, then it's fine. So I could have, yeah. I mean, look, I could afford it, but like, do I want to do that, or do I want to just like invest that money and keep it? You know, like,
yeah,
I would rather just invest it and keep it. Like, I don't need it. There's a difference of affording something and then it being of value to you. Yeah. Like, for instance, I can buy $1,000 pair of sneakers, and I mean, this sounds super pompous, but it's like I can buy $1,000 pair of sneakers, and to me, it's still relatively cheaper than the average person buying a $50 pair of Nikes. I'm not at the point where I can say that about first class commercial versus private. Once I can get relatively, I mean, but so for me, it's like, I think you really have to be, worth, to do it reasonably high 8 figures, 9 figures to do it. And I would want to do that like liquid, not like company network.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, your business is not dependent as much on your personal brand as other offers. Yeah. So if it was, and you just get a private jet, it would kind of make a little bit more sense in terms of marketing, because then you're like, oh, cool. Well, it's in the like brand. It makes me more money.
It's like a prop.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, the idea, and I have nothing against people who do this. I give two shits. I don't care. For me personally, I just don't want to be the guy that like, it's not my style. Yeah, like, I just don't want to like do this private jet Instagram thing. Yeah. Car Instagram thing. That's not what I like to do.
Yeah, I noticed. It's not your personality.
It's like, so, yeah, if I gotta, like, I'm more of a, I just want to fuck off, So, like, I just want, like, to insulate myself and just not have to deal with things I don't want to deal with. Yeah. Like going to the airport. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's why, like, I want, like, a nice spot where I have space from other people, And so that's kind of my motto. I just want to be left alone.
Yeah, I have that too. I do want to be left alone, but I also, weirdly enough, I have this other side that really loves personal branding. All my businesses have been based on personal brand.
Yeah.
My first business, the dating coach.
I wish I was more like that in a way. I'd probably make more money.
Yeah, probably. Because for me, it was always such a logical thing to do. I'm like, okay, I want nice things, but I also want them to pay themselves. Yeah. Right. So when I go on luxury vacations, I'm like, I want to fucking post that. We call it milking.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Milk it, post it everywhere, and it pays itself.
I think that's the smarter way to do it. Yeah, I just don't like doing it.
Yeah, but exactly. If you don't like doing it, you would just suffer while doing it, and that devalues it, actually.
Yeah, so I just don't like, I'll go on a trip. I won't even post on Instagram once.
Yeah, exactly, because you said you went to Japan. I didn't know.
I did make a few posts on Japan, But yeah, I might do a story. My girlfriend's like, you should post more. she's really good at social media. I just like, if I could have a business that had no social media, I would do it. Like I just don't give a fuck.
Wow, that's sick. That's the exact opposite of me.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that so for me, it's like an effort. Like I'm trying to put out more YouTube videos, and even this, like, it'd be nice to get the raw file and like my team can splice it up and post it and stuff. Yeah. But so I'm trying to do more because I know it matters.
Yeah.
And it's useful, but it's something. It's not my default. Like I don't get excited about it.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I don't mind. Podcasts are easy though. I kind of like podcasts, but. I just don't get excited about it. I'm just not a big fan. I like making money.
Yeah.
Being left alone.
Yeah, and that's what.
And I like one thing that's cool about my business is that like my customers are pretty like they're all cool and like I can learn stuff from them. I'm like, oh, you're doing this, interesting. Like I like that. That's a cool thing. And then helping people is obviously a good part of it. And so, but yeah, just. Left to my own, like some people get super jazzed up. Like the reason they'll want to get out of their operations of their businesses so they can make more content. I'm like, nah. I like operating. That's a strength of mine.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
For me, it's oftentimes I'm like, I love the social media part so much that I really have to ensure on a daily basis that I'm focusing on making money too. For me, it's like I have to push. It's almost like the social media thing keeps wanting to rise to the top and I have to keep pushing it down. I'm like, yo. It's fucking vanity metrics. I don't care. I should not care as much about that. It should be more about the money. And like I said, like I'm lucky enough to have always kind of built a setup where it always feeds into each other. That was one of my main thought processes when I started the dating coaching, my first business back in the days, because I'm like, okay, I'm this young guy. I consider myself very hardworking, and I think I can do something in terms of building my own business. But at the same time, I don't want to miss out on the social aspect. I don't want to be the guy who has like a non-existent dating life for until he's 35. So I'm like, okay, fuck, how can I make it happen that it feeds into each other? And then I'm like, well, the dating coaching thing is pretty sick because then when I'm quote unquote working on my game and going on dates, it kind of passively makes me money because then I get better at it. I get better at coaching, and then that helps me with my brand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I looked at it, and then that was the exact business I built. I was then traveling around the world, coaching guys, having a thriving dating life, and then documenting that, and then that made my audience see that on Instagram, on videos, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. And they're like, "Oh, cool!"
Yeah, and that's what people. I mean, especially like if you're helping people start, that's what people want.
Yeah.
There's most people just want that.
Yeah.
And then there's a few psychos that want like what I want, which is just like growth.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, but no, I mean, I think that's the better way to do it. And I would say, yeah, I mean, for me, it's interesting. For the first like couple of years, I was like just no life except for business. And then I really balanced it out well.
Nice.
And that was certainly more enjoyable. I got way healthier. And I just found ways, even in a business that's not lifestyle-esque like mine, like I found ways to make it more social and meet more people and, bring people into it. That's kind of the key, right? Is like do something that's exciting and then bring people into it.
Yeah.
And like one thing that's a really good thing that I got this from Dean Graziosi actually, because he kind of does it and I sort of did a different spin on it, is like I would have events. Because one thing that's cool about what I do is like all I know I'm really connected with like all super top people. And so I would, get all a bunch of like really legit people and I'd be like, hey, pay $5,000. We'll come out. It's not like an offer or anything. There's no pitch. And we'll just have like 1.5 day of a mastermind where we all get together and share something that's working. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll go to like we got like a $100,000 box at the waste management tour.
Sick.
Yeah, so like that, and then you can invite like I mean, I was dating my girlfriend, so obviously that's something cool she can do. Or if you were a single guy, you can invite people to it and bring people into kind of like. But that's something you could do that's cool that you're just doing business and it's like networking. So I think that's a really cool thing. Like that I think a lot of people should do more of is
100%.
stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest lessons I had from last year was exactly that. Just like you said, I was just burying myself in my living room or in my office, just working and not being in contact with anyone, not going to any fucking masterminds, not going to any fucking meetups. And yeah, there's a time and place for that, but I think I overstretched that bow. And then I started the podcast. I'm like, let me just talk to cool people. And then I'm like, damn, I learned so much every time I talk to someone. Damn, I always get such cool connections. And then I literally had 3 people in mind when I first started the podcast that I could get on. And then, now a year later, there's always more people that I can talk to. And then I started going to all these masterminds, and it was so fucking good for my business because I would find so many good people. I would find so many good mentors, so many good people that would work together with us. I'm like, fuck, I should have done that earlier. Because at some point, again, like, there's a time and place for you to just be sitting alone at home and grinding it out. But there's a time and point where these things act as levers and they multiply things. And I didn't have that for many, 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 many years.
Yeah.
And now I do, and I just see how fucking useful it is.
Yeah.
So I recommend that to anyone. I'm such an introvert. I think I'm slightly on the spectrum of autism. My mom keeps saying that.
Nice.
And I feel it's pretty fucking true.
It's like a flex nowadays.
Exactly. I'm like it's a fucking secret superpower. Like, it's the slight autism. And so it's so easy for me to just grind things out, but I have to keep reminding myself that you can't climb to the top alone. You're gonna need to have a social aspect in there somehow.
Yeah, you're just gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of super rich people that are just super miserable. That's one thing Tai does really well is he has like a well-rounded life.
Yeah, true.
Like a very like he's living his best life, right? And so I think that's like one thing that is part of success that most people don't even realize is like, and you don't have to be necessarily traveling or doing a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, it could be just like family and raising kids or whatever, but just like appreciating that there's more to it. I mean, especially like, if you made 10 million, what's another 10 million really doing? Probably not a lot. If you made 100 million, what's another 100 million going to do? It's kind of like sick at that point. It's like a hoarding of money.
You get addicted, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's the right thing to do is, I mean, I just do it because it's fun and it's challenging, and it's like a growth mechanism thing for me. But it's like, realistically, the money's probably not gonna do much except get me a jet. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm like, that's like about it. Like, what else am I gonna do? I don't know. But I do want that. I just don't like commercial. It would have made, I mean, for instance, I could have done this podcast yesterday if I had a jet.
You got that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So that's about it for me. That's my only materialistic thing. I don't even care about the car. I would just Uber. I don't care.
Jet is kind of random though. I'm never gonna get a jet. I don't think so. Maybe we'll play this back 10 years later. But jet's never really fancied me. For me, I love cars because I love racing. I do a lot of sim racing.
Yeah.
I love this. I love everything about racing. I love the sport. I love the challenge. It's such a mental sport. People don't think it is. It's so much about fear because it's all just like, how fast can I get into the corner? And I know theoretically the car can handle it, but I'm fucking scared shitless. It's such a flow state experience.
Yeah, I'm not into that at all. But I think that's cool. I optimize for convenience.
Yeah.
I just like to take shortcuts.
I have that too. I have the convenience too, but yeah, I don't know, private jet. A yacht would be kind of more interesting.
Nah. But I grew up with boats.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So like my parents were really into boating. That was their thing. And so we had like, not like yachts, but like we had like, some nice boats.
Okay.
And yeah, I've just kind of like felt like I've done that. And I feel like it's just easier to rent. Just the charter.
Oh, true. You do have to pay a shit.
Because it's a lot more even upkeep. I don't know if it's technically more upkeep than a jet, but it's a lot of upkeep.
I think so because of the water corrosion, the salt and shit. Like, because the jet's in the hangar, it's in the fucking hangar.
Yeah, I mean, then there's a lot of maintenance you got to do with that too.
Sure. I mean, now we're just speculating about shit. We have
no idea. I don't really know. I do know that I'm pretty sure a boat is it's more fucking intense than people think.
Interesting. What were you? You said you hung out with Tai for some potential collaborations. What are you guys working on?
Well, you have to figure out. But like, I mean, I think what would be cool, like one thing that's, he's really good at personal branding. Like we already just talked about, like it's something that I think I would be good at if I really just applied myself. But I just like, it's not my like natural go-to, right? Like we talked about. So, it'd be cool to collab in a way where, he can do what he does best and I can do what I do best. But we'll see what happens.
He ideates your personal brand, or how would that look like practically?
Oh no, like promoting our service or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
like he did before with the. That's also such a genius business model. He basically just had this huge brand that was loosely in health, wealth, love, relationships, and then he just had all these programs where it's like they're not really
affiliates.
aligned.
Yeah, it's just
like because I remember
he was like Oprah.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
And it's really, really genius because it's super easy. He doesn't have to care much about the.
It makes sense. But what a lot of business owners miss out on is like, how can you leverage somebody who's already built another personal brand to be kind of like a promoter? The health and fitness industry does it really well. Like, for instance, there's so many health and fitness influencers, and you can pay them $100,000 and then use their base and creatives and like shit like that. Right. And so, I would like to do more of that for our stuff, with like business influencers. Yeah.
And did you talk to him about it already? Is he down?
Well, I mean,
did he?
We're gonna be figuring it out.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But we're gonna test some stuff and see if it works.
It was interesting about Tai because he was just like, because I met him when I was still Owen's assistant. We shot some of his first fucking videos in his old villa when he had like 2,000 subscribers. So
wow.
Like, oh yeah. It was actually Owen who told him to start doing YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, super, super interesting. And he was already exactly like his internet persona back then.
No, it's exactly what you see is what you get. I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, it's not fake at all.
Not at all. He literally is exactly like that.
He's exactly the same.
Yeah.
He's a very nice guy. He's very, very cool.
Yeah. And then so we did that. And then he, here in my garage, completely blew up. I think, he was like the first of his kind, really, like lifestyle business influencer. There was not many guys like that. If you really think about it. Completely blew up. And it was like, you could tell from his personality, it was just a game that he was no longer interested because he won it.
Yeah.
He won everything. Then he fucked off. He got his not little, but he got this ranch that he has somewhere.
Yeah.
I forgot where farm.
Virginia.
Yeah. And then he was just gone for a couple of years. And now he's coming back. And it's so smart to see from an outside perspective how he's coming back and how he's leveraging everything. Because I don't think his social media is as I don't think it gets as much engagement as it used to get because there's more competitors out there.
Yeah.
And his style of posting is not 100%.
The algorithms are different too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The algorithm is different. His style of posting is still kind of the old way, but he still makes it work. And the interesting thing is he went from this guy that the average person knew, right? This B2C, read a bunch of books, to now all these entrepreneurs like us, we know him because we know he made a ton of money with all his offers. So all his masterminds is just full of B2B folks, full of people that are like, oh, I want to learn how you made all this fucking money.
I always think about this too. What's interesting is that like he kind of planted the seeds like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And so a lot of people who got like into this space because of a lot of his stuff are like pretty successful now.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that weird?
So smart. And he's like, oh,
imagine imagine Hormozy in 10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be, but he's already getting high net worth people, right? But imagine like in 10 years he's going to get like it's just going to grow,
I noticed it was Owen kept saying that, he was like, yeah, all these guys that are now following us for the dating stuff, in 10 years they're all going to be 8-figure business owners.
That's true.
Yeah, and I look at you and you're like, oh yeah, I know Owen stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so many times nowadays it's fucking insane. I walk down the street, especially in the States, some guy comes up, there's like, Max, I used to watch all your stuff. Now I got a girlfriend, I'm married, I got a kid, and I got a business, and I'm crushing it. It's exactly like Owen fucking predicted. And when Owen kept saying that back in the days, I was just dismissing it. I was like, yeah, crazy Owen ramble.
Yeah, but it's hard to think that long term.
Yeah.
But it is true. It is true.
It is 100%. And with Tai, that effect is on steroids. It's even crazier.
Yeah.
Now, because for a lot of young guys, that's kind of like the entry level drug.
It's either that or fitness.
Exactly, either that or fitness.
Yeah,
It's either I wanted to become jacked, which I actually think fitness is just it's just an extension of dating too. So 99% of guys want to get fitter because
a lot of
they get better
times
with girls.
A lot of times, yeah.
What was your gateway drug to this whole thing?
It was a little bit of both, right? And so it was fitness probably was the first thing. So like when I was in high school, I was in a wrestling match, and wrestling is like kind of traumatizing, but it was like the best thing that I ever did. Because, you know, wrestling, like you're mano a mano in front of your entire community and all your friends and family. And like you're basically fighting somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I remember my freshman year getting my ass beat in this match, and like really it was like nothing to really be super down about, I guess, but I was so down on myself, and I remember going home and being like, and I just got manhandled by like some dude that was like a junior. And now if you're a freshman, the difference between a freshman and a junior in wrestling is like you have no chance a lot of times unless you're really good. I mean, you can. There's certain freshmen who win, you know, state, but I was a heavier weight, so like I was 189, I think, or 171 at the time. So like, you know, in those classes, the age really helps. So I just got my ass beat by this dude, and I just went home and started lifting. I was like, I'm gonna get jacked. Like, fuck this shit. I'm not ever gonna get my ass beat again.
Yeah.
And so then I got into that, and I started like. I mean, I put on like 40 pounds and here. Yeah, I did like a dirty bulk. Okay. So like I got really strong, but you know, I put on some fat too. And then I was like, you know, I'm like 177 now. I used to be like 225. Jeez. And I had more chunk, yeah, for sure. But I was like athletic, you know, like I was muscular. I was working out like a lot and just really nutrition dialed, all that stuff. So like, I, you know, that was my first kind of opening into you can do something about your situation. You know, I know that sounds so simple, but like it's like, you know, there was like no even social media back then, right? So I was like, oh, I can like improve my situation.
Yeah.
And then and then in high school I was like terrible with girls and stuff. So like I kind of started to get into personal development through fitness, and I was like, okay, I improved my situation with this. I was like, I wonder if I can improve my situation with like my social life and girls. So, you know, I'm like, I think I Googled something. First thing that popped up was the David D'Angelo ebook, the old one.
Damn.
And so I read that, and then I was like, this is fucking weird. I was like, so I didn't do anything with it. And then so I kind of like, then I went to go play football for this D3 college, and it was such a horrible experience. Like I was like, why am I playing football for this D3 college? Is a fucking waste of time.
What's a D3 college?
Division 3. So it's like a small college.
Oh, okay.
And it was and then the social life there was so terrible. I had no friends. And I was like, this is awful. So then I moved to this big party school. And when I moved there, I was like, I am going to redefine. I was like, I'm going to change. Like, I'm going to redefine myself, and I'm going to be cool. Because I was always cool because of sports. But once, like, I wasn't the captain of the football team, right? I was like, fuck, I have, like, nothing to, like fall back on. Like, I'm not cool, you know? And so I was like, I'm going to redefine myself, and I'm going to be cool, you know? And then so I moved to this college, and I started to try to be more social and all these things. And then I read this book called Conquer Your Campus by Christian Hudson. He wrote it by a different name, but have you heard of The Social Man?
No.
Yeah, well, they did a lot of money with like affiliate marketing and all sorts of stuff. Like he was crushing it, but he was a good dude. In that book, I mean, it taught you it wasn't like gamey, you know? It just taught you the most basic stuff, like have good energy and like give value and like flirt and just I don't know, like stuff like now I'd just be like, just be normal, you know? Yeah. But and you know, like do cool stuff and like have parties and invite people and like be somebody where like you always have something going on and invite people into your reality, you know, like the most basic concepts. But I read this in a 2-hour history class. It was so boring. I just didn't pay attention. I read this Kindle book and I was like, it blew my mind. I was like,
love it.
Oh my God. And so and it was like, you know, all about like sharing good vibes, you know? And so I like remember leaving class and I walked out a different person. Like, you know, then this was like my third self-development book I had ever read.
Yeah.
And in the book, it recommended The Power of Now. So I was like, I'm going to read The Power of Now. Like, blew my mind. And so I was like, books. You know, that I was like, oh my gosh, like, books. I got to read some more of these books. And so, like, I walked out, and then that kind of started an improvement where I was like, okay, I can, like, try to get better with social life, girls and stuff like that. And, you know, I never did, like, any sort of, like, crazy gamey stuff, but, you know, and I consumed a lot of information, and some was helpful and some was not. And, you know, it was a long path. And then I was like, okay, I've improved myself in this way. And this is still during college. And then I was like, I wonder if I can do this same thing with, I was like, you know, I didn't know it was called personal development at the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm improving my situation, you know? I was like, I wonder if I can do the same thing with grades. So I was like a high 2s GPA student.
Yeah.
And so I ended up reading some books, and I kind of figured out a system. And then I went from like a 2.8 student to only getting 4.0s.
Wow.
Like I only got like 3.9, 4.0.
Sick.
And so like I just started like crushing classes. And like I really like pushed it to the brink. So I was a guy who I would never go to, like I had this whole system. And it's not like I cheated. Like I would know the information, but I would never go to a single class except for like the first one. And I would like party. I would drink like 5 days a week. And I just had a system through how proactive I was and how I would just understand, like group projects were my Achilles heel because I hated them. I wanted to fuck off. But exams, I would 100 on every single exam.
Wow.
I was really good. Yeah, I just was able to figure out a system how to do that. So
What was that system? Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I read this blog. It was a blog. And it was like, I don't remember what the name was because I wish I could find it. I've looked and I can't find it anymore. But this was just so long ago. You know, the internet was different back then.
Yeah.
And the blog was, I think it was called like How to Get Straight A's in College. Yeah, that's what it was called. And it just broke down like how to study. And it was like a real like, it shot it straight too. It was like, yeah, you probably don't even have to go to class. Class is kind of a waste of time.
Sick.
And like, so there's certain classes that you would, like I would identify very early on, do I have to go to this or do I not have to go to this? A lot of them I did not have to go to. Like I aced biochemistry without going to a single class. And biochemistry is known as one of the hardest classes.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to a single class. Did not fucking matter. Just did Khan Academy basically. And so, yeah, I just had a whole, and then it was that combined with the 7 habits of highly effective people. Yeah, I mean, you know, you read that now and it's like, duh. But man, you read that when you're 20 and I was like, oh my gosh, my mind's blown. And so then what happened is like that stage, I was like, okay, you know, I'm making improvements, you know. I wonder what I can do about like money. And then in one of these books I was reading, there was this other book that was recommended called How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. You know, have you heard of that book?
Yeah, I heard it.
Right? It's okay. It's like an enjoyable read. It's not like you're going to like learn a bunch of stuff, but it's founder of Max Magazine. He's like a legit billionaire. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's like the crude title, like How to Get Rich. I'm like, perfect. You know, I'm going to read this. Like, so I was bartending at the time. It was a dead shift because it was during Christmas break and all the students had left. So I literally had like one customer the entire 8-hour shift. Just cranked out this entire book. And I mean, I left that and I was like, oh, like, I don't even know what entrepreneurship like was. It just wasn't popular like it was today.
Yeah.
And I read this book and I was like, I'm being an entrepreneur. And he tries to, in the book, convince you not to get rich. Like it's kind of like it's like a satire-ish book. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's one of those things. But I read it and I was like, no, I'm fucked up. I'm going to do this shit. And so I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I don't even know what that's going to look like, but that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make obscene amounts of money. And then from there, that's when I decided I was going to go try to be like a doctor. You know, that's what I thought success was, is being a doctor. And then I realized, oh no, you get into business. And so then I was like, okay, well, I like health. I'm going to start a business. So I started a health blog. I finished college, but I didn't go to grad school. And I stayed at the town I was working in and I managed this bar. So that's how I made money. And then what I did is I started this health blog. And then I wrote all these blogs. And I was like, nobody's reading it. So how do I get people to the blog? You know? And then I started to study like ads. And as I started to study ads, that's when I got targeted with Sam Ovens' thing that he was doing with Tai Lopez, because I also followed Tai Lopez. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, you know, like, here's this super rich kid in a suit in New York. Like, I'm gonna do it. And I got on this webinar, and then I could not afford this thing. bought the course, you know? And then that was like truly, when I got that, I was like, oh, you know, this is like, I mean, that was another like mind blowing. I wish it was more things. There's like less mind blowing things I go through now.
Yeah.
That was like, blew my mind. I went through it so many times. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then so then I dropped the health stuff, and I was like, everybody in that course is trying to start a Facebook ads agency. I was like, I'm doing a Facebook ads agency. And then I failed for that for like a year. Like nothing worked. And what's funny is I was like, that course taught like cold email basically.
Yeah.
And what's so funny is I was like, I took so much action that like the first day I was like, okay, I'm going to send like 200 cold emails. Like I'm blowing this shit up. And what I didn't realize in hindsight is I got like my deliverability completely fucking blacklisted. And so for a year, I'm not even kidding, bro, a year.
Oh, no.
I sent cold emails and was trying different copy and using the same domain and just never realized that my email was blacklisted. So like I was like, for a whole year, I was like failing with this agency. But I was so like, I invested in this program, I'm going to work the program. And I just didn't think hard enough to think about like my deliverability was shot. And I don't know how I didn't never realize that too, because I was like researching cold email and trying to figure out different stuff. Yeah, it turns out my deliverability was just shot the entire time, like a big dumbass. And so, yeah, long story short, that wasn't successful. But then what happened was I bought another high ticket program course thing that was more specific to Facebook ad agencies. And once I did that one, then I like got my agency to like $30K a month. And I was like, oh, sick, you know? So I quit my bartending job. And then I was like, okay, cool. But I just had no idea what I was doing. I could only sell. Couldn't deliver, couldn't do anything. I had no idea how to even like budget financially. I was just such a tard. And so I like kind of like, even though I was doing money, I like ran out of money. And I was like, well, fuck this. And I was always like, oh, if this agency thing doesn't work out, because that program was sold not through a webinar, but it was a closer, right?
Yeah.
And so I befriended this closer. His name was Stan. And I'm like, he's making like 25 grand a month doing this shit. He's just talking to people. So I liked the sales. And I was like, okay, great. Well, if I ever fail with this agency, I'm just going to go get into sales. And so I kind of failed and then got into sales. And then the rest was history.
Sick.
And that's how it went down.
Fuck. That is such a funny story because it felt very similar to me. This whole like, I always thought things are given or they aren't. I was very much like someone that had no clue that you could actually change your situation. Yeah. So, for example, my older brother, he's always been the popular social kid in our little fucking village. He still is.
Right.
And I was always like his retarded, completely awkward, dumber younger brother. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck, you know, He got it. He was blessed with the thing, and I don't. I have other superpowers. I could study real hard and all that jazz, but he was always a popular kid. And then I found in his backpack a fucking book that said how to pick up girls. Oh. So I'm like, oh.
This is the secret.
Yeah, well, you can learn this shit?
Yeah.
I thought you have it or you don't. So I'm like, fucking... I didn't steal the book, but I went on Amazon and I bought it for myself, and it arrived.
What was the book?
It was just some German author. It was all in German.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so. And I read it, and it was so also for me so mind blowing. It was such basic stuff. It was like girls like it when you're social. I'm like, no shit, really?
Yeah.
Girls like it when you're funny. Really? Yeah. I had no idea. So I'm like studying all that, and I also went out right away and I took action. I read the chapter on like how to get a girl's phone number, and I'm like, well, let's go. 4 p.m. in Vienna, let's go outside. And I would just like talk to girls like that, and I would write it all fucking down. I would write like whatever, December 16, 2000. I can't remember when I started, 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
I approached a girl in the metro and did work, you know, and then I would write this on forums. We had a German forum for guys who were trying to get into talking to girls.
Wow.
And I would start posting on there, and then I started getting some real good results, and I got phone numbers and stuff like that. And then people would start commenting. They're like, hey man, do you do coaching? And I'm like, I don't do any coaching. But yeah, I do. Sure. How much? And I was like, well, I don't know how much. $150 a day? They're like, yeah, sounds good. Can we do Saturday? I'm like, holy shit, I make $150 talking to girls. Yeah. But it was very much like you said, this whole idea of like, I didn't know you could learn this.
Yeah.
There was no social media, no nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. And nowadays, I think that's just so given.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so,
it's just so like, But yeah, it was so funny. I just like went down this rabbit hole, and then I was like, oh, spirituality. There's all these books with that. And then there's business, and then like once you get into that world, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much. And then there was like relationships, and then there was stuff I would overthink and go down the wrong path, and then there is certain stuff that was good, and then like health. I'm like, oh, there's so much you can do here, and I just kind of got like addicted to like improving.
Yeah. It's the best. It's like a real life video game, but instead of gathering stats, you get like real life stats.
Yeah.
That's also kind of like how I feel when talking to you, because you're like, yeah, what does an extra 100 mil do to you? But you just kind of like the game.
Well, it's more of a like, can I figure out a way to do it? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can make a lot in my brain where it's like, well, I'll be able to, have this amount of passive income based on 4% earnings year over year, taking out, but I mean, what are you going to do? Stop working? Like, I'm going to be doing something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be like doing nothing, So, it doesn't really matter that much except for the jet. That's the only thing I want.
Fucking jet.
That's the only thing that I want. That, and it'd be nice to have, I think we're going to move to Miami, and it'd be nice to have a place in Miami and then, like some land outside of New York or something. Hey, that would be cool.
Why? Like a ranch or something?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I like New York. I like Miami. I think Miami would be the main spot. And then I want some land. I like the whole farm thing.
Everybody does. I love it.
Yeah, the way I'd have to do it, because I've done enough real estate to know this, is like I would have to kind of buy it, but then have like a system, and have like, I don't know how it works, but have like a farmhand and somebody run the,
you gotta have someone to
I'm not going to be,
it's a full-time
I'm
job.
not going to be, tilling myself.
Yeah,
it's not happening. That's just not me.
Nah.
But I like the, it's nice to be able to have land and be able to fuck off. Like that's kind of my MO. And so, yeah, I'd like to have a little balance there. We'll see how it all shakes out. But I have enough money to do that now. So really the only thing that I feel like I need more for is a jet.
It's so funny. Everybody says they want to get a ranch at some point or a farm.
Yeah,
and
why would you not?
Yeah, for me, it's the whole idea of you make your own food. Number one is it's fucking healthier. It's better.
Oh, yeah.
Number two, it's better for the environment. And also number three, you become independent. Like, I don't know, like this whole COVID thing made me slightly paranoid, just a little bit of this, like, okay, what if the supply lines get interrupted? What if the government just fucks everyone over?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think it's gonna happen. Like I have like a whole stockpile, but I live in an apartment building, so if there's a huge civil unrest, it's probably not the best place to be. But
You have a stockpile of what?
yeah, 2 years of food and 6 months of
no
water.
shit.
Yeah, I mean it's like it cost me nothing, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck it.
You just have a room with supplies.
The
in your
closet.
apartment? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have some guns and.
Tell us, what food did you hoard?
There's 2 years. There's different survival. I mean, this is a good offer, by the way. There's different survival companies that give you like not freeze dried, but it'd be like maybe it is freeze dried. So it's like there's like a packet. It almost looks like space,
Like an MRI.
In space they eat like
Yeah.
tubes of shit.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like shit like
Okay, sick.
yeah, it's not like I'm not like dipping into the stash by any means. I have no desire to do that. And then I have like 6 months of water as well. And then some guns. And
What guns do you have, man? That's all six.
I just have a handgun and a rifle. But yeah, I'm not like a big guns guy either. I'm like, but I'll go and shoot just to, knock the rust off. Yeah, I need to take some classes too. But yeah, so I like all that. I mean, it's just kind of fun. Like it's like, fuck it. You gotta spend your money on something.
Yeah. You ever want to build a bunker?
No. Yeah, I mean, if we're in bunker territory, that's pretty apocalyptic.
I was gonna say.
So
now
maybe just die at that point. But I think the farm thing is more, like the cities will be crazy. If there's like a lot of civil unrest for one reason or another, or there's the supply chain breaks and there's like no food, or the electrical grid goes out. You can kind of sustain yourself on a farm with some community.
100%.
You know who you should really listen to about this is Tucker Max.
Yeah?
He has a really great blog and a video about doomer. It's called Doomer Optimism or something. Yeah. I mean, look, he's like next level with it for sure. But, You know, I don't know if you follow him. He's like
know.
insanely intelligent.
I mean, I know that he's intelligent, but I don't follow his stuff.
He's super intelligent. He's like very, very smart. So yeah, I like follow him, and it's like he talks about his sheep and shit, and his farm. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I mean, for me, I'm often thinking about like, okay, like if I put energy out of my daily brain focus budget and I put it into planning for what if the apocalypse happens, I'll feel really retarded when I'm like,
I mean, look, I'm not like spending all day thinking about this, right? Or I'm not like, you know, that's why I don't have the farm. Is like, you know, do I really want it right now? What would be the reason I would get it? Okay, just for these events. And I just know, I bought a bunch of real estate. It was a huge mistake.
Really? How come?
And yeah. So when I started making money, I mean, I was making money, right? Like 7 figures, but then I started to make like a lot of money really, really fast. Like I went from like, you know, making 7 figures to making 10 times that in 4 months. And so psychologically, that's probably not the best thing for somebody. And I didn't go like, I just was like, what do I do with this? Inflation, tax. So that's when I moved to Puerto Rico. I moved back. I was doing all sorts of crazy tax shit. And then I was like, real estate. And so I bought in a year's time frame 40 plus doors, but like probably 30-ish properties. So stupid. Was such a it's a whole other business. Yeah. It's like, and I just refused to look at it. I was like, I will not spend time on this. I was very disciplined. So I was like, I'm not going to spend time on this. And I started to realize this is a huge mistake. Like I bought a bunch of these single family homes. They were a huge pain in the ass. And like, you know, they were cheap. And so like, why am I buying it? You know, to get the $100 a month of passive income. Yeah. You know, like, why am I doing this? And then I bought these more luxury Airbnbs, and I was more promising about those. But the issue with those is I just didn't know how to underwrite properties, and I just was a little bit too optimistic. So I was like underwriting the property, and I was like, 8% cash on cash, and the property's nice. But, you know, the issue is Airbnb historically, based on the numbers I was underwriting, went way down. And everything came over budget, right? Like furniture costed more, this costed more, that costed more. So everything was just a money pit, and it cost way more than you think. And so I had these luxury houses, but they weren't profitable. So I just had this huge money pit of losing money. And then it just became a pain in the ass. I was like, I'm fucking done with this. I hate this shit. And so I just sold it all this year. It was great. But dude, I lost millions of dollars.
No shit. So you didn't even make any profit when you resold?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I made nothing. I lost money. And then because I did cost segs and accelerated depreciation against taxes, I had to pay tax. I had lost money and had to pay taxes when I exited it.
Fuck off,
yeah.
Man.
It was the worst. So like now what I do is I just work with like really good syndicators, which again,
I was going to say, like,
yeah, because a real estate allocation is important, but the issue is, dude, is like, there's so many bros at masterminds who pitch their real estate deal, and it is sketch. Like, it will sound good, and if you don't know real estate and you're not a super duper expert at it, you kind of don't know how to evaluate the deal independently. But man, most people just don't know what they're doing, and you know, most people got in when you couldn't lose. And so, like, you really need to, for investments, be very selective with who the operator is and just really get some good references of people you trust. So, like, now I only have 2 people with real estate I invest in, and I think they're both really good. I trust them a lot. But yeah, I mean, I just give them money and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like a hedge fund kind of. Yeah. It's like a private equity type thing. So it's like a, you know, 20, 30% kind of split and preferential return and, you know, that whole deal.
What other things are you investing in?
So I just kind of try to keep it basic, right? So like I just do, I'm about, you know, 10% crypto. I still want that to be about 7. And I just keep that. I have multiple different hedge funds that I'm in with that. Realistically, is the hedge funds that great? I don't know. But you know, if I had to do it just me, I would just do like BTC, ETH type thing, just to have something in there.
Yeah.
But I also went way crazy. I didn't lose too much money there, but I did go too crazy. And thankfully, I lost $250,000 in a day when Anchor went down. After that, I just consolidated everything into like the large caps.
Yeah.
And I just stopped doing all the crazy shit I was doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of like made out of that unscathed, but it was a distraction for me for sure. But I mean, it was a distraction for everybody, to be honest. So that 10%. Then right now, since I sold the real estate, it was about 10%. But I used to be upwards about 20% real estate. Then I have some life insurance policies. And so those are really, they're slightly different in the way they work than stocks, but they correlate heavily with the stock market. So I have that. And then I have, a good bit in stocks and a good bit like treasury bills and bonds and shit like that. So that's like, probably 40%, 30%, maybe 20% stocks, like another 15, 20% in bonds. And then I have, 3% in gold. Yeah. Nice. And then I have some traditional private equity funds that buy companies. So like I buy into the GP stakes of really big private equity funds. Yeah. So I have some funds that do that. And then some funds that invest in pro sports teams because pro sports. Yeah. So technically, like I own like the littlest piece of like the LA Dodgers or like some other things like that. I don't get any perks, but that's one of the best asset classes in the last 20 years. No shit. It'll probably continue to be even despite the collective bargaining. And they opened up investment to private equity just recently with a lot of pro sports, especially baseball and hockey and a few others, I think. And so I have, a few percentage points in that, nothing crazy. And then what else? I mean, real estate, I hold some cash. So it's cash, real estate, crypto, stocks, life insurance, bonds. I think that's about it. Real estate. Oh, and then, I have probably about I'm a little over allocated into like venture, but I probably have like 7 to 9% in that. So whether that's like stuff that I have some sort of active interest in, like there's a software that my CMO built that I invested in. I was the first outside investor in the school. That was good. Yeah. But most of my venture is really bad. Like that was some of my venture, crypto and real, like that was in the beginning phases of doing some really dumb shit. Yeah. Yeah. If I had to just recommend it to number one, don't be afraid of holding cash because sure, you're going to get hit by inflation, but until you really know what you're doing, it's just so hard to like make good decisions with your investments. S&P 500, man, basics.
The classics, yeah.
It's like if I would have just went 100% every dollar I made into that, I'd be way richer than I am now for sure. I think a little bit of gold is fine. Treasury bills, bonds is fine if you want to put some allocation there, just to have some liquidity. If you can find really good syndicators for real estate and private equity and stuff like that, that's good. And then some venture stuff here and there, but that's a really tough one. And that one too, I lost a lot of money, but the school investment that I made, I think will way pay for everything that I lost. So, I mean, I guess it all kind of evened out, you know? Yeah, I mean, I invested in that, like, early. I mean, like, the only other people that invested before me were the people who used to work at consulting.com. So, like, I was in at the all-time lowest valuation, and...
How much did you put in?
I put in $420,000.
Nice.
Which is a lot for venture. Yeah, and so, which is more than it's funny, because... I would not do that today with a venture investment, but that worked out. Like I wish I would have put in $1 million. Like, oh my gosh, like it's, Sam is such a beast. I think he, out of any of the entrepreneurs in our space, is going to be the most successful one, even more than Hormozi. And he's just such a stud. Like he's so smart, and so in the platforms, I mean, now it's work. I mean. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when now. I mean, it's obviously working really well. And when he landed the Hormozi partnership, it's like, I was like,
Yeah, it's pretty insane. I remember when you guys switched to school because we
and it's just a way better product.
Yeah.
And it's way better.
I mean, also like just looking in from the outside, like the way they framed it, and it's like, oh well, make money by having your own school community. Yeah. So that's obviously always a really, really interesting way of framing it. And yeah, man, dude, we have to head to the airport. We have to go to New York. You have to go back to work.
Yeah.
As well.
I'm going to Kansas today.
Oh no
For
shit.
a wedding. Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. You have a weird sleep schedule. So you go to bed at 8 and you wake up at like 4.
5.
No shit.
8:39. Yeah.
How is that?
Sorry, I've been doing it for 8 years.
Wow. In when I'm with my girlfriend in Finland, I go to bed at 9:30ish, and I wake up together with her at like 6.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I couldn't handle it. I need 8.5 hours of sleep. I cannot operate under
8:30 to 5 is 8.5 hours.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And that way you can get a lot of shit done before everybody else gets up.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, part of the reason I want to move Eastern is because Pacific, it's tough.
Yeah,
Because
Pacific,
like
yeah.
we have like my first meeting at 7 a.m. So I do a meeting or two, and then I have a huge break for stuff I got to do, and then I have some meetings in the afternoon. But in Eastern, like I could pull off, that first meeting being at like 11.
Yeah.
And then you have 6 a.m. to 11 every day. Like how fucking badass is that?
Yeah.
Eastern's way better. Pacific is tough. You're just playing from behind.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Well, man, how can people find you? How can people work with you?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube channel, Cole Gordon, Closer.io's website. That works.
Boom. Check them out, folks. Dude, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. It's been a very much pleasure.
So, Cole Gordon is literally thinking about purchasing a jet, and if that inspires you and you say, I want to get into this making money online thing so I can travel the world and do awesome things and maybe also buy a jet at some point, we can actually help you with that. We've helped over 3,000 people in the past. I've built 2 multi-million-dollar online coaching businesses myself. I've built I don't know how many for my clients. It's been an incredible journey, and we know literally the ins and outs on how to get your first clients, how to position yourself, what kind of skill, hobby, expertise, or passion has the highest potential for you personally to make your first 6 and 7 figures. We also can tell you how to automate that and build your brand. All you have to do is hop on a call with us. If you cannot hop on a call with us, then maybe business isn't for you, right? It's a free call. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. We can help you get started entirely for free on that call. There's a link down in the description below. And if you cannot find the link, maxtornow.com/call for you to hop on the call, and let's make it happen. Thank you so much for enjoying this wonderful podcast, and talk soon.